Good afternoon to all of you. We've got participants who are still strolling in. We've got a very healthy attendance this afternoon. So thanks so much for making time to be with us this Saturday afternoon. It's 2 o'clock in Singapore. If you're elsewhere, it could be, either morning still or afternoon or evening. So this is Winnie. I'm the head of admissions of outreach. So you will see me in most of these webinars, or I may turn up at your school sometime at some point. So that's what I usually do, going out to schools and talking to students and parents and ECG. So today, right here, I'd like to remind you before we start the webinar proper that don't worry about taking screenshots of the slides because there will be a QR code at the end of the webinar that you can actually scan to download a copy of the slides. But what I'd like you to do is actually to focus in the next 60 minutes or so, just focus on what we have to share, our stories, as well as what we have to tell you. And of course, application is actually already going to be opening in a couple of days' time. So that will be more information on that. And also, please do make use of that question function on your screen that you can see either at the bottom or on the side. So if you do have questions, you can actually just write in and we will try and answer you either during the session or we actually will speak about it in the Q&A segment, which is in the second half of this session, all right? Or if we can't complete all the questions or questions that we cannot answer, we'll come back to you. All right, so without further ado, I'd like to invite our speakers for today. We have the speaker slide. We have Prof. Kang on the screen. So yes, so Prof. Kang is the associate professor in the Department of Chemistry at NUS, and he oversees the West Wing of NUS College as the Master of West Wing. With a bachelor degree from Yale and a PhD in chemistry from Caltech, Prof. Kang's interest is in the surface chemistry and physics, as well as computational chemistry. And next on screen, we have Gautam. Gautam is a year 4 student majoring in biomedical engineering. The former president of NUS College Club enjoys singing. And yes, he sings very well. He is also a Teh Tarik lover. So fun fact about him is that he has actually run for more elections than he has ever physically run. So just imagine how he looks like. You will see him when you come down to our campus. And then we have Shakira. So I'm supposed to do that shake. Shakira is a year 2 life sciences student who is active in visual arts, society, floorball, and captain's ball. She has great interest in arts and do crochet in her free time and has been doing a lot of merchandises for our college. So she also enjoys dabbling with Adobe Illustrator and Photoshops, and she is the organizing committee seller at the Makers Market and also a student-run event that supports student makers by giving them a platform to sell their crafts. So this is this happens on campus for us. And finally, Mikhail. Mikhail is a year 2 engineering science student who is a double specializing in energy science and technology, and also nanoscience and technology, something that I really don't have any knowledge of. From Sri Lanka, this NUS College International Scholarship recipient is actually currently involved in the interest group NUS Connect, which we will share a little bit more about interest group later on. And he has a variety of interests, including anime. So if you actually share the same interests with these students, do look out for them at our open house, which will be expected sometime in next February or March. So without further ado, I think I've taken quite a bit of time doing this. I'm going to pass the time over to Prof. Kang with an introduction of our college. Over to you, Prof. Kang. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks, Winnie. Can you hear me? Okay. Hello, good afternoon to everybody. We're very happy to run this webinar. So there are the three students and Winnie and myself. So what we want to do is to give you a sense of the place. I will do the job of giving you some framework so that you can ask questions about the people, the place, what we do. So essentially something about the curriculum, which is interesting and contemporary, a whole bunch of things about learning opportunities outside of the formal curriculum, as is important in university these days. We are also going to talk a little bit about student life, residential living, and all in all, we want to emphasize that there is a community here, the faculty, the staff, students, alumni, which makes it a good place, which makes NUS College a good place for you to develop and grow intellectually, maybe to develop as a person and to mature professionally. So all in all, this is an important set of information that we thought you should have. But what we want to do is to encourage you to ask questions about us, because we may not be able to cover all the things that you are curious or interested about. Okay, so that's what we do. First thing to do is to start off with NUS. On this slide, you have on the left-hand side small numbers. NUS is one of the top universities in the world. We also of course, as all top research universities, we emphasize a lot on intellectual development, but we are not forgetting the importance of career and aspirations, and therefore we know that we do a whole bunch of things to make the graduates employable, and therefore, you know, we are amongst the top 10 globally for employability. On the right-hand side are large numbers. We have lots of different kinds of courses available. We have double degrees, concurrent degrees, and joint degrees with many international partners and within NUS itself. And we have many exchange partner universities in the world. There's about 40 countries. We have about 300 international partners where universities and colleges in many different parts of the world. We also have 15 NUS college locations where if your cup of tea is entrepreneurship and startups, you get to try your hand at one of the startups that we partner with. So all in all, NUS is in a very nice sweet spot. We are globally highly recognized universities, and at the same time, we have many international partners. So not all universities in the world are in this kind of balance. That's NUS. Now, what is NUS College? So NUS College is one of the faculties in NUS. In a nutshell, NUS is a very large university, but within the large university, we have an honors college with select students, a small group of them. And what do we do with this small group of select students? The students in NUS College get to enhance a basic NUS degree with a whole bunch of things. And this whole bunch of things, very quickly, interdisciplinary common curriculum. We think it's highly important these days that when you come to the university, you do not just focus upon a single discipline or maybe even 2 or 3 disciplines, but you get a broad range of things that will help you to think through problems and to better apply your ability to solve problems. So that's our interdisciplinary common curriculum. We also have a small student ratio. The classes in NUS College, the largest class is about 25 students in all, and the smaller classes can be about 15 students. So within NUS, we have in a sense, the best student to faculty ratio for you to learn so that you can interact with the faculty members much better when you're in the classes. In addition to these, we have a residential life program, a very rich residential life program. NUS College is newly set up, maybe about 2 years already in running, but we have had lots of experience in the past running residential life programs. So for example, we've been in University Town in the university for at least 10 years already, 13 years in total now. So we have had a very rich background in developing programs for students who are living on campus. Now, academics, since this is the important thing in a university, you get to choose your pathway when you are in NUS college. You get to choose your pathway from amongst the very many majors available in NUS. On the right-hand side of the screen, you'll see the different faculties where you can take majors from. All the major faculties are represented here, except maybe for medicine and law, medicine and dentistry, and the School of Music, because those are professional degrees where the curriculum is very much packed. So aside from this, the College of Design and Engineering, the College of Humanities and Sciences, Business, Computing, Law, all the majors in these faculties are generally available for you to pursue while you're at NUS College. And the students in NUS College also get to pursue, yes, enough space in your curriculum to pursue a second major or even a major plus a minor. So as examples, we have here Daryl. Daryl was a philosophy student, and he graduated 2020. He's now doing video content producing. He's working at Mothership. We have Jingmei. Jingmei is one of the highly recognized scientists at the Genome Institute of Singapore. She's a life science graduate, class of 2006. So we have had long experience in developing majors and in crafting interdisciplinary curriculum so that our graduates become successful. Students also at the NUS College have the flexibility to switch majors. We all understand that when you first get to the university, you may or may not have a very clear idea what it is that you want to major in. Even if you have a very clear idea of what you want to major in your first year or in your second year in the university, you may encounter or you may run into interesting majors that you haven't really thought about previously and haven't been exposed to, and therefore you may want to switch your majors. Now that's eminently possible if you are a student at NUS College, and we'll talk to you about why the curriculum space allows you to do that. Okay, this is your 4-year roadmap just for the curriculum portion. If you are in any particular major, there'll be 4 years worth of classes for you to participate in or to take while you're in NUS. But the blue blocks here are really the courses that you will take within NUS College. So in your first year, you do foundational courses, 4 of them. In your second year, you do some more foundational courses, 3. And throughout the second year to the 4th year, there's one course that's called the Impact Experience. It's a team project. And from the second semester of year 1 through to the last semester of year 4, you take 6 courses, which we call Making Connections. And these are interdisciplinary things that include the Global Experience course. Now, you will be wondering what these courses really are about. And of course, this slide doesn't tell you very much about them, but what I'll do is I'll try to fill in the blanks in the next few slides. Okay, now we say that we are an interdisciplinary college, and our emphasis is upon being broad, being diverse, being global. And part of it has to do with us taking students from very many different streams, from many different backgrounds. I just want to indicate here on this slide that we have students who come in with an IB diploma. We have students who come in with A levels. We have students who come in with a polytechnic diploma. Now, these are just 3 of the different kinds of qualifications, the different kinds of academic qualifications that you can use to gain entry into NUS College. We, of course, cast our net quite wide. We're looking internationally, and therefore we are looking at a very broad range of academic qualifications for you to come to the university. Now, the curriculum is important. And what is the curriculum? The curriculum, when you come to NUS, consists of 3 big slices of pie. One is your major. If you are majoring in chemistry, you spend about 38% of your time taking classes in chemistry. So this is your major. But in addition to your major, NUS. This is all of NUS. NUS requires all students to do what is called a common curriculum. Now, the common curriculum in the College of Humanities and Sciences, where chemistry is in, is different from the common curriculum in the College of Design and Engineering, if you, let's say, were a mechanical engineer. So this piece constitutes about 33%, and this piece allows you to stretch beyond the usual confines of the subjects and the topics that you would do in the major courses. So there's the major, and then there's the common curriculum. But one of the key things about university is that you should be left with a degree of freedom for you to explore things that you're interested in. And that is your unrestricted electives. So these three pieces of pie constitutes what you will do for your curriculum when you're in NUS. Now, this is NUS, applies to all students in NUS. What about NUS College? When you come to NUS College, and let's say you're majoring in chemistry, you do exactly the same sorts of modules in chemistry that a chemistry major who doesn't come to NUS College does. But in addition to the chemistry, NUS College has a common curriculum which takes up about 35% of the space, which is slightly larger than the 33% if you were not in NUS College. But this 35% of the space straddles part of the common curriculum in your home faculty, as we say, and also eats a tiny bit into the unrestricted electives. So when you come to NUS College, you'll be taking care of your major modules, and then you'll be taking the common curriculum at NUS College. You'll be taking some pieces of your common curriculum in your home faculty, only these small number of pieces that you're required. And then you have a space left over to explore the other things that you would like to explore. How would you make use of this kind of curriculum pie structure? Now, before we talk some more about the curriculum and what you can do, I want to emphasize a difference that might come up now and then. The word college is overused in many places, and of course in NUS we also kind of overuse it. We call NUS college, but as you know, there are residential halls in NUS. There are also residential colleges in NUS. So what's the difference between NUS college and a residential college, such as Tembusu, which is our close neighbor? Now, at NUS college, we have NUS college is a faculty within NUS. So it's a faculty much like the College of Humanities and Sciences. It's a faculty much like the College of Design and Engineering or the Business School or the Law faculty. It's a faculty with particularly with a compulsory residential component. So we're the only faculty in NUS that requires its students to stay on campus for a period of time. So that's NUS College. A residential college such as Tembusu is really what it says. It's a residential place. So for a student to come to NUS College, if we admit a student in chemistry, the student in chemistry is already admitted to NUS College, automatically gets admitted into chemistry in NUS. Whereas if you are a student in chemistry and you want to stay in a residential college, you apply to NUS first, you get admitted to chemistry, and then after that, once you are already a student who is admitted into NUS, then you can apply for a residential place, either in a residential college or in a hall of residence, or perhaps you might want to live in the PGP residences. So the emphasis here is that it is a residence, whereas here it is a faculty with an academic program. Now, NUS places a large importance on students living and learning together. In a residential college, the students take 4 or 5 courses out of their common curriculum within the residential college. So this is the piece of the curriculum that is called the residential college curriculum. This is quite different from what happens in NUS college, because in NUS college, a student admitted into NUS College pursues the common curriculum at NUS College, and that's 14 courses in total. So that's quite a big chunk. As we've seen, is about 35% of your curriculum when you are in NUS. NUS College also places large importance upon globalizing and internationalizing. So we want our students to gain experience globally, and therefore we have a global pathways program that we require all our students to pursue. NUS College is a 4-year commitment. If you stay in a residential college, is for 2 years. So that's a difference. There are slightly different kinds of bees, and I guess this slide is important so that you're not too confused by the overuse of the word college. What do we want to do at NUS College? Ultimately, the thing that we want to do is to get our graduates to be people who make an impact on the world, people who are who help to build their communities, people who bring positive change to the community and to beyond. But how do we really do this? We basically want people who have an impact. But how do we do this? We do this by getting uh, by 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 taking you through an experience both within the classroom and outside the classroom, where we hope you become curious and you develop your critical thinking skills through the various classes and through the various opportunities that you have outside of the formal classroom. So that's our interdisciplinarity that comes to the foreground. We also emphasize that in order for you to solve problems, you have to be globally minded. So globally minded really means that you have to be exposed to a broader range of experience than just say within Singapore, because these days, as you know, it's a cliche. Many problems are global, and in order for you to make an impact, a positive impact on these kinds of issues and problems, you need to know what is going through the heads of people in other parts of the world, and therefore our global program seeks to enhance your ability to understand and to expose you to ideas that are different and maybe opposite to your own, and so that we can help you to become a more effective change maker, a more effective person to have an impact on real problems out there. Okay, there are different ways that we think of helping you develop that sort of ability to be a positive change maker. But basically 3 pieces, right? The first piece is the formal curriculum. The second piece is what we think of as experiential learning. We're calling it experiential learning because you are getting your hands dirty. You're really out there. You're not just reading a book or writing a paper or listening to a lecture. And the last piece really is about your interactions within the community, because this is one place where we find that many of our students learn new things from their peers. Many of our students learn new things from interacting with communities out there when we have programs that bring our students outside off campus. So basically 3 pieces: the formal curriculum, the experiential learning, and the community. And the following sets of slides will take you through the 3 pieces, give you an idea of what they are. And like I said at the start, it's really to set the context so that you kind of know what it is that we're about, and therefore you can ask questions that resonate with you. Okay, the formal curriculum. The formal curriculum is 14 modules, as I've said, 4 in what we call critical competencies. These have to do with writing, reasoning with data, understanding the social world, computational problem solving. So uh, basic skills, basic academic abilities that we want all our students to have. Critical competencies, 4 courses. We have what's called global orientation, very consistent with what we want our students to be able to do after they graduate. Three courses here: global narratives, global social thought, science, and society. So these are what we call foundational courses. There will be 7 of them. In addition to the foundational courses, we want you to get into the deep end, dealing with problems that are multidisciplinary, dealing with approaches that are interdisciplinary, for example, such as climate change, for example, such as geopolitics. So there are 6 courses in what we call making connections. So these are in your interdisciplinary curriculum, where you take advantage of the fundamental academic skills that you gain from your critical competencies, and you take advantage of the background in terms of understanding what's going on around the world to address bigger issues, to address concrete issues in concrete ways. So that's making connections. And then finally, we also want our students to have a direct experience in doing something within their community, either here or in the region or abroad. And this is one course. This is a team-based course. So as you can see, there are 4 pieces of curriculum that actually fits into how we want our students to be trained, so that by the time they graduate, they can become positive change makers in an effective way. Now, a little bit more detail, and this slide has to do with specific questions. So for example, you say that, well, I'm interested in majoring in physics, okay? But I'm also interested in philosophy. So how can that fit into my curriculum, into my time, while I pursue the NUS College Common Curriculum? And this is how it can be done. 38% in your major, in your physics major, 35% of the curriculum time will be spent in NUS College Common Curriculum. You have up to 5% of your space in the common curriculum at the College of Humanities and Sciences. You can pursue your philosophy minor here, and you have 10% of your space to pursue other unrestricted electives. Okay, so that's one possible mode of crafting your time, your studies in NUS. Another possibility is that you say that, well, I'm interested in a physics major, but I want to go to grad school in physics. I want to do nuclear physics. So I want to take many more physics classes. So you do your major in physics, all those extra physics classes that you want to take in order to pursue your very deep interest in physics will come in here. So you can pursue lots of other physics classes within this space. You can pursue lots of mathematics classes within space in order to prepare yourself better for graduate school in physics. So this is a second mode for you to pursue your studies in NUS. A third mode are for majors such as law, where the major piece is rather large, right? So you pursue your law major, it takes up about 58% of your time. You pursue your common curriculum in the NUS College, which takes up about 20% of your time. And then you have 22% of your time left over for unrestricted electives. So this is if you are in law, this is one possibility. If you're thinking about law, it is not impossible to do it. In fact, quite many students do come to NUS College and are majoring in law. Then there are a whole bunch of other things, right? I said that we have double degree programs and joint degree programs with many different partners all over the world. The Sions Po double degree program, which is quite popular. You spend 2 years at Sions Po and you spend 2 years at NUS College. In the first 2 years at Sions Po, you take about 37% plus 13% of your modules. The major in NUS will consist about 20% of the courses you take in FASS, plus this 13% that you take at Sions Po. So this constitutes your NUS major. That portion constitutes your Sions Po degree requirement. This is your NUS common curriculum, and then you have space left over for your unrestricted electives. So these things are possible. One of the things that we always tell students is that if you come to a university, come to NUS today, your curriculum is not as simple as coming to NUS, say 10 years ago. But on the other hand, we have staff members, we have faculty members who are ready, we have peers who are ready to advise you on how to pursue what academic plans you have while at NUS. So what about the faculty members who teach here? I will just say one thing, and the faculty members who teach in NUS College are all selected because they are wonderful teachers. So we have award-winning teachers, we have teachers in anthropology, we have teachers who are in physics, we have teachers who are in many different fields. We have teachers in biology and literature, and engineering. So there is a broad range of faculty expertise that is brought to bear upon the curriculum in NUS College. And all of them are very committed to interacting with students. And this works in well with the small class sizes that we have. We have a maximum of about 25 and a minimum of say about 15 students in our thinking with writing courses, where a lot of hands-on interaction with the faculty members become very important. Okay, we move next to experiential learning. This is what we do as a catch-all for many of the educational things, many of the developmental and growth things that we do outside of the formal classroom. So our branding is really something like breaking open the classroom. So meaning that when you are at NUS College, you're learning not just when you're in the classroom where the teacher is speaking up front or the lecture is going on. You're learning at all times. What does learning at all times mean? It means that we put you into real world situations. You learn to ask questions about things that are going on around you. You learn to reflect. You learn to collaborate with your teammates and your faculty members, and you learn how to share. Importantly, you learn how to share the ideas that you have, the questions that you have, so that you can make progress on those things. So this is what we mean by experiential learning. And of course, that works into our global experience part of our curriculum, that works into the impact experience part of our curriculum very directly. Okay, what is global experience? I will just come to the right-hand side of this slide. The global experience opportunities that are available are those curated, specially curated modules that we call global experience courses. I'll talk a little bit more about those in a little while. At NUS, we also have an NUS Overseas College program. The NUS Overseas Colleges, the startups, the university gets students posted into startups, and so if you're entrepreneurial and you like to try your hand at doing something at a startup, this is a very good opportunity. We have very specialized programs for our student exchange within NUS College. We run, of course, the double degree and joint degree programs, and we run travel study experiences to the region and to other parts of the world. So this encapsulates what we mean by global experience. Don't be too worried if you think that, oh, well, this costs money, because the college is supporting this to a very large extent. Don't be too worried if you think that, well, I mean, will somebody guide me? And yes, the answer is yes. When we bring you on these global programs, we actually are trying to expose you to ideas that are different, and therefore there will be a lot of support, a lot of guidance, a lot of help in order for you to ask questions and to find out new things about other cultures and other societies and how other places function. So just very quickly, global experience courses, we have one in New York City, we have one in Java, Mekong, Paris, Toronto, Stockholm, Tokyo. I'm just making a list of these things. I'm just reading out the list to give you the idea that it is a very broad broad range of programs available. Unfortunately, you get to go only to one of these. You don't get to go to two of these, but you have a real wealth of choice here, because you can. There will be very many that are being run, and we are of course in the process of growing this part of our curriculum. The double degree program, Sionspol, you've seen a little bit earlier. We also have a double degree program with Waseda. We have specific student exchange programs with Amsterdam University College in Amsterdam. We have a special exchange program with the UMP College, which is the honors college in Beijing University. We also have a special exchange program with the honors program at the University of North Carolina. So lots of programs which are distinctive, which have different strengths, catering to what you might want to do while you're in the university. I wouldn't say very much about global experience courses anymore, because there'll be two students who'll be sharing more about their own experience in these programs. I just want to say that, for example, you get to go to seminars that are hosted at the United Nations. You get to go and talk to people who are really the people planning Japan's transportation. You even get to go to a fun thing like going to a sweet factory in Japan. So a wealth of things for you to try your hands at in order for you to develop professionally. The Impact Experience Program, again, I wouldn't say very much. I just want to say that it is a team of students who will design and plan these, along with help from faculty members. And you design, you plan, and you execute it. And you have, there's great flexibility in how you want to present your ideas and how you want to present what you have done in this Impact Experience Program. Okay. I won't say anything at all about this slide, except to point out to you that to look at the pictures. So if your interest is in marine biology and you are hoping to make a positive impact through your interest, this is one thing that you should try your hand at. Finally, one last piece, the three pieces, the formal curriculum, experiential learning, and the last piece, community. So I'll spend some time on community. We take in about 400 to 420 students each year. Of the 400 and 420 students, there are 50 majors, okay? A very broad range of your classmates in a very broad interest, people who are in history, people in philosophy, in chemistry, in business, in law. We take in students from 20 different countries. We take in students from 90 feeder schools. And altogether, it is this group of people, you and your peers, who make that community a very interesting, a very special, and a very good community for you to develop and grow in your 4 years while you're in the university. We have a common first year in residence. All our first year students live in one building, along with a whole bunch of other seniors. We also guarantee that in your first 3 years of candidature, your residence, you will stay in one of our 2 residential wings. I don't need to say very much about residential life, because I think these days everybody knows what it is to live on campus and to have a rich residential life. But you see, you form good collaborative experiences working with your peers. So another way of saying this is that you make friends with your classmates, you make friends with your schoolmates, you make friends with faculty members, and you make friends with visitors whom we invite to come to the university to talk about various things or to tell you about various projects that they have. You have lots of opportunities to discuss things and to collaborate. You will feel a part of a community that has a purpose, and that purpose is really to become curious, critical thinkers, so that you can make a good change in society, in the world. Okay, we also are very supportive of students. Living on campus is not the same as living at home, where parents are all the time. But living on campus, we provide pastoral care. And I'll show you another slide, which will give you the range of the people who are involved in helping students to cope while they're at the university. So this is it. We have two residential wings. One is called Cinnamon Wing, where the freshmen are. The other one is called West Wing. Prof. Loy, who is a philosopher, is the master of Cinnamon Wing. I am the master of West Wing. So between the two of us, we have a bunch of colleagues who help us. There are 8 of these faculty members, professors in various fields, including Chang, Xiang. Xiang is a curator at the NUS Museum. So all of them bring special strengths to living within a community. So these are faculty members and professors and very professional curators who will live with you in the college while you are a student here. In addition to this, we have 4 student support managers who will be able to talk to you about the issues that you're having, so that we can help you to resolve these issues in your studies, in how you're coping with life away from home, etc., etc. Okay, so they're altogether a very good pastoral support team. So you don't really have to worry. It's a home away from home, where you get to feel comfortable and where you have people that you can talk to. Um, we also have a student life team. We have staff members here who will help you to form your own interest groups. Uh, One of the traditions in NUS College, which have inherited over the past many years of running at UTown, is that faculty members and staff members are very student-centric, which means that they spend a large amount of time talking to students. So these are the 4 staff members who will spend a large amount of time working with you in case you're interested in starting up a particular student interest group. This on the right-hand side is our student leadership. So you'll get to hear from this gentleman over here who was the president this past 2 years, the student president. So you get to hear from him about student life. So I'll encourage you to ask him more questions about student life and what students get to do, and what students can really pursue while they spend their 4 years at NUS College. Now, finally, I'll wrap this whole thing up by telling you that your life, when you come to NUS College, your life is not all studying and learning and thinking, although all that is fun, developing professionally, developing in a personal way, but there are lots of student interest things to do. As usual, when we put young people like yourselves together, you guys have lots of ideas about how to create meaningful fun. We have more than 60 student interest groups. We have 40 social cultural groups. We have 23 interest groups in sports. We are quite good in sports, even though we don't recruit specially. We don't recruit athletes. We are quite good. We play sports quite well against the other residential colleges in the neighborhood. Yeah. So just to give you one example of student interest group, this is Cinecaf. Cinecaf is coffee, tea interest group, basically caffeine. So you get to learn, so the group makes tea and makes coffee for everybody else twice a week. We all go down, we enjoy the tea and coffee. And the people in the group, the people who are interested in thinking about coffee and tea and bringing a slice of fun to the rest of the community. So this is one of our interest groups. Okay, so I will stop here. So I'll pass the time over to Winnie, and I hope you ask us lots of questions. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Prof. Kang, for sharing on our college with our students and our audience today. We have quite a few questions that's coming in through the question and answer feature, which we are still trying to answer. But next, I would like to actually bring Shakira in to share her stories as well as IEX experience. So Shakira, anytime you're ready, over to you.
Yay. Okay, I hope you can see my screen. All right, so my name is Shakira, and I am currently a year two life sciences student studying at NUS College. And today I'll share a little bit about my experience being in NUSC, mainly about the student life. Okay, so a little bit about my background. I was from Temasek Junior College, where I took my A levels, and I took art, biology, chemistry, as well as math. So why did I choose NUSC? There were many reasons, but the main reason was because the fact that it was interdisciplinary attracted my interest. Next, it was with regards to the academic rigor, and next about the residential life. So I'm someone with a lot of like interest in different fields, be it like art, science, sports. So when I saw that NUSC harped itself as being an interdisciplinary college, it was something that I wanted to be part of. I was from the first batch of NUSC, so I also did want to, cultivate and be in a community of like-minded individuals who are interested in expanding their horizons beyond their majors. So, with regards to the academic rigor, I understood that NUS College is their academic program is basically derived from the University Scholars Program, as well as the Yale NUS program. So, I wanted to push myself further with the modules that NUSC offered. Lastly, with respect to residential life, I really wanted to experience what it was like to stay on campus with my classmates and, just have intellectual conversations and doing group projects with them. So moving on, I did have a few concerns upon coming into NUSC. So I was wondering if this was the right place for me, whether I would fit in, kind of worried about university life in general because a lot of students would say, university is not very easy. And it was also quite daunting for me to live independently, especially like 5 days a week and only going home on the weekend. So those were just some issues that I had thought of before coming to NUSC. But thankfully, upon coming in, they were actually just dispelled. Like I've frankly had quite a great time here, of which I will be sharing more of. So first up, I'll be sharing a little bit about the academic life. So I am a life sciences major and I have a minor in bioinformatics. So as you can see on the right, three of the modules that I took in my year one were thinking and writing, understanding the social world, as well as quantitative reasoning with data. So as you can see, they greatly complement my major, and they were these fields are something that I don't normally dabble with. So I found it very like intellectually stimulating to learn about it. So I will share a little bit about the first module, which is called Thinking with Writing. So it is an academic writing module which dabbled a little bit with philosophy. And these are some questions that we explored during the module. So it might tickle your brain cells. So, what defines consciousness? Can we live forever with mind uploading? Will our consciousness be transferred? If I wake up with no recollection of my past, am I still the same person? So I found these questions to be very interesting. And as a year one NUS college student, all of you, if you come to NUSC, Thinking with Writing is a compulsory module that you'll have to take, but Self and Health and Longevity is just one of the many modules that you can choose from. So there are other topics like art, geography that you might want to take up. So on the right is actually a screenshot of the final paper which I had to do, and I chose to do it about should there be a line drawn to where technology alters the human condition? Yeah. So next up, Prof. Kang touched a little bit about this in his sharing just now, called the Impacts Experience Project. So short form is IEX. So a little bit about it is that it is a project where we take a step forward in making an impact on society. So we can choose a sector that we're interested in. So there are many options that you can choose from gender inequality to fishing villages in Indonesia to coding applications in healthcare. So really this project pushes NUSC students to break open the classroom and do projects that, they're interested in. But of course, there's a catch. Each group has to be made up of a mix of students from different majors, so we all can't be from the same major. And the whole point is so that you get to mix around with individuals from different different academic fields so that you can work together in an interdisciplinary project. So for my group, we actually came up with a project that wasn't in the original list. So because all of us were interested in marine conservation and have experience in diving, we wanted to do a project that aligned with our interest. So this photo right here is a meetup that my group did with Sea Communities, which is our partner organization in Bali. So IEX is a 1 or 2 year long project, depending on your major. For most of us, it would be for 2 years. But if you're a law student or any other major, you have the option to do it. Sorry, not law. For selected majors, you will get a chance to choose 1 or 2 years. So certain majors, like the more demanding ones, those ones are given a bit of leeway and they can do a 1 year project. But for most of us, it would be for 2 years. So there's two options for IEX, which would be the local or the regional project. Local meaning that we do it in Singapore, regional meaning that we do it anywhere else, usually in Southeast Asia. So I will share a little bit about my own project. So my project is called Cocoa Coral. So we investigate the use of coconut husks as substitutes for as substrates for coral growth. So as you can see on the next slide, okay, so right here is a nice little photo that my group members Rachel and Kyan gave us. It was from their recre trip back in December when they went to Bali to meet up with the organization and find out more about what they were doing. So these are some more photos. All right, so on the top left, you can see an image of some fishermen making coral glue. So you might wonder, what is the significance with regard to my project? So a little background was that the reefs in Les Village, which is a little village in Bali, they were previously destroyed by cyanide fishing to support ornamental fish trade. So this was a really long time ago. But since then, the fishermen have turned to more sustainable practice of ecotourism, specifically coral restoration to boost livelihoods. So our group desires to aid these reef restoration efforts by increasing its innovation and efficiency. So as you can see, they are using cement to make the glue, but currently we are working with the village to help innovate a new form of substrate that's more eco-friendly and more effective for coral fragging. So these are some more photos of my group helping sea communities to harvest some corals. So our team's goal is to develop a sustainable substrate for coral growth using coconut husk because we did a little bit of research and found out that coconut husk is not only eco-friendly, but it has also been proven to improve growth rates of corals. So this is the main gist of what my group is doing. Of course, there are many other groups doing different things like reconstructing villages or coming up with a social solution for a social problem. So really you can do anything you want with IEX as long as you put your mind to it. So I actually have some more photos from my very recent trip over recess week, which was about 2 weeks ago. So I went to Tioman and then I had taken my open water diving certification in Tioman with an interest group called YNC. So this group basically helps to organize diving trips for people to get certified. And they even organize trips for people who are certified and just want to dive. So I would say it was really an interesting experience to have experienced this in university, to really just go out and try new things with friends. So next up, I'll talk a little bit about residential life. So this is actually Utown Green and Cinnamon College and Cinnamon Wing and West Wing. We are located in Utown, the heart of National University of Singapore. So over here, as you can see, there is a little video about my room and then my suite, the common area. So usually if you stay in a suite, it would be 6 rooms. So you'll be randomly allocated with 5 other people when you come in as a year one. So for me, staying in a residential college was something that I really wanted to experience because as an only child growing up, I just really wanted to, you know, learn experience how it was like to stay with people. And I thought it would be fun because we would be going for classes together, we can eat meals together. So this kind of community spirit was something that I had envisioned and want to experience when I came into NUS college. So next up, as you can see, these are my very sweet mates. Actually, I think it was really great that although we were randomly allocated, we became really close and we're still sweeting in year 2 together. So in year 1, you'll be randomly allocated, but year 2 onwards, you can choose your own sweet mates. And I think it's really sweet how these sweet mates have actually contributed greatly to my life in NUSC, because it's so great to just come back to your suite and have these lovely people to study with, to take a break with, and just be there for each other while we are in this paper chase. Okay, so next up, I'll talk a little bit about my community life. So of course, different people would have different experiences, and this is just my experience. So in NUS College, we have these interest groups, which are basically like co-curricular activities that you take in your school, except for no commitment is needed, meaning that they don't take your attendance if you have an exam to study for or you don't feel like coming this week, you can just not come. Like Prof. Kang was talking about CINACAF, NUSC CAF, which is a interest group targeted towards individuals who are interested in brewing tea and coffee. So I've actually gone for that interest group like once or twice, just to learn a little bit of it. But as the years go by and you get a little bit more busier, there is simply not enough time to join every interest group. So I think the very flexibility of these interest groups would make um, students more encouraged to pick up new things without the fear of commitment. So the best part is that if you have an idea of starting an interest group that doesn't exist yet, you can submit a proposal and you can start your own interest group, which I think is a great opportunity. So, some of the interest groups that I am more heavily involved in is floorball and captain's ball. So prior to this, I have always been in art club, and frankly, picking up a team sport was something that was really new to me. Um, so right now I feel like I really learned a lot and I've been going religiously for floorball especially because I really enjoy just, unwinding at the end of the day, coming together with friends, not talking about academics, just playing games, having fun, unwinding. I think it's a great end to my day. So, the interest group that I'm actually most heavily involved in is the Visual Arts Society, of which I'll be the upcoming president. So, if you have any questions, you can ask me. So, we host an event called Makers Market, which is our most successful event every semester, whereby we provide a platform for students to sell their crafts. So, we have like a plethora of students in NUS who, you know, make different things, be it jewelry, be it clothes, be it crochet, and we as Visual Arts Society basically provide this platform for students to sell their crafts, which is a great way to earn money on the side, especially, if you're so committed to a hobby and you're making so many things, the joy of just selling it and, being a little student entrepreneur on campus gives the student makers a lot of joy. So actually, if you're interested, I have a little plug on top. So we have an Instagram called makersmarket.utown. So if you're in Singapore and you want to drop by, it's happening from 18 to 20 October. So it's open to public to shop. So finally, I wanted to talk a little bit about house activity. So usually with residential colleges, we have a little house system that sorts us randomly into different groups. So this house activities, right, they play an imperative role to, bring our community together and basically have a little safe space of friends where you can always turn back to. So we have very friendly house leaders and house members, and there's a lot of events that are organized under the Housecom, such as Lohe during Chinese New Year, Halloween pranks, movie nights, inter-house games. So, I feel like house really does play quite a big part in NUSC for just, you know, making every individual feel like they have a place they can go back to. So yeah, That is all that I would like to share about my student life. If you have any more questions, you can reach out to me on Telegram at Lemon Butter Sauce. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Shakira, for your sharing. And I think we're going to move on to our Q&A session. So I think, first of all, I believe there are two questions on what are the age of students from NUSC that have over students as a regular NUS student when they go into workforce. So Gautam, I think you would like to answer this.
Yes, thank you so much for the question, Cassie. So I think one brilliant thing about NUS College is that we are always in a setting, in a classroom setting where we are surrounded by individuals from varying majors. It's never the same major. For example, I'm a biomedical engineering student. I'll be in the class filled with political science students, filled with life science students, law, medicine sometimes. And what we have to offer to each other are very differing opinions, and we all work very differently because we see our worlds very, very differently. And that really stretches us and puts us in a very collaborative settings. And the nature of our modules and also our courses, as well as, for example, the impact experience program, where you're surrounded by differing major students coming together to solve problems. This is something that the students at the greater NUS have less exposure to, and that's something that we really want to focus on making you all change makers of the world in the future. So that's something that will definitely set you guys apart when you guys go into the workforce, and it's very, very evident when you go through your interviews, when your employers pick up on these things that you have done at NUS College. Which brings me to the next question that Alvin asked on the advantages that students at NUS College have. We have a vast variety of student life, as what Shakira has mentioned. We have a very, very small classroom size that is so makes it a very intimate, a very safe space for us to have all this discourse in classes. And that is something you don't get at the greater NUS. I'm an engineering student and I go for my lecture and I'm surrounded by 200 other students and I'm so scared to raise my hands and ask a question. Whereas in NUS College, if I have a differing opinion, I will never be afraid to share them, because even if I know that I might not be of the majority's voice, I know that my voice will still be heard and students will be able to listen to what I have to say and have a healthy discourse with me. I think that's what really sets us apart.
All right. Very well, thank you. And I hope it's Cassie as well as Elvin has that helps the two of you with because you've raised that questions to us. So I think I want to move on a little bit. Gautam, since you are still here, could you share about your GEX in New York City, please?
All right, I can actually share my screen. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So I had the privilege to actually sign up for the Global Experience Program, and I managed to go to the New York City over June this year. So I was there from May to June, and this is our class photo that we took at the Statue of Liberty. I really, really love this place. So what we do in New York was that we actually had weekly seminars at City University of New York. We went to museums, the Tenement Museum. We went through the entire history of how New York City was developed over time. We also visited places that mark diplomacy, media, and finance, such as Bloomberg. So this is me at Bloomberg with my best friend Justin. And we also went to UNITA, as the United Nations, as what Prof. Kang mentioned just now. And it was really amazing how going through and living and going through the people of New York and what they had to share with us was a very interesting experience, because we see New York through movies, through books, through Netflix shows, and what actually happens there is really very different. And the stereotypes, the biases that's associated with New York being a very rude place where people are very rude. But in fact, the kindest people I've met in my life actually come from New York. Many of them are even kinder than Singaporeans. They in the mall, they'll be like, are you in the queue? And meanwhile in Singapore, people just cut my queue. So that was a very like eye-opening, sorry, time that I had, because it really pushed me to think beyond what I've experienced in Singapore and what I actually read in books and watch in movies, which kind of then made me think about the independent study course that I'm doing eventually at New York, right? So every NUSC student who went for GX this past year had to do a independent study course, which means you do a research based on a topic that you really, really like. And I'm someone who's very, very keen on the concept of leadership, and I try to think about what really goes through a leader's mind when they make decisions and things like that. So one thing I really wanted to explore was the role of mayors in New York City and how they actually helped shape New York City into the state it is today. Because New York was not always this fancy, really great place. It had its really, really bad days when the place was in the economic crisis, when the Bronx was in fire. So what really, really happened and how mayors are so important in developing this New York to what it is today. So I think that was really interesting. And when you go through the history of through the seminars that I went through, it was really emotional for me because you get to learn about the history of the Bronx, for example, and how landlords set buildings on fire just to get insurance payout. So it's really, really impactful because you actually understand the different pain the communities then went through, and you also introspectively reflect on the kind of privilege that you have in Singapore, and that and me as a Singaporean student is so gifted to go through NUS and the opportunities that's coming with it. So it was really a really holistic experience that I would definitely recommend to anyone.
Mhm. Thank you. So once again, that was Galton's 4 weeks experience in New York City in summer this year. Absolutely an eye-opening experience for him and for the rest. And I'm pretty sure the faculty member who was supporting this trip as well. So I want to go into the part that Prof. Kang earlier shared about student life. That because as you are aware by now, NUS College has got a 2 years residential component that each student will have to fulfill. And so what does this actually mean? What sort of contribution on this living on campus it contributes to your intellectual development, etc. Maybe we could start off with Mikhail.
So with regard to student life, there are a plethora of interest groups that cater to a vast variety of interests. And in the off chance that you don't have an interest group that caters to your particular interest, you can always start one up. So there's a lot of financial and administrative support that NUS College provides for you to start these kind of initiatives. And for me in particular, I am part of the EXCO of NUS Connect. So NUS Connect is basically an interest group that tries to help international students to, I guess, to help them integrate into the new environment that they find themselves in, because we've noticed that there are a couple of pain points they experience, and we are coming in to sort of solve it in a particular sense. And in addition to that, we have many more activities as well. So we have this program called Brain Foods Plus. So in the last semester and this semester too, I've actively taken part in it. So Brain Foods Plus is basically a program. It's a very informal program outside the classroom, where we basically discuss a book, whether it be on an academic topic or maybe even outside of academics. So last semester, the book I was involved in was one that helped me understand different stories from marginalized groups. The book was called Who Can I? Stories from the Margins. And this semester, I'm doing a very interesting book called On Tyranny. Where we investigate different historical events throughout the 20th and 21st century that led to tyranny and how we can actually prevent them. So these are just a few of the various different activities that you can engage yourself in as a student of NUS College.
And how about Shakira and Gautam? Anything you'd like to share on this?
Okay, maybe I can talk a little bit about it. So the question was about how does residential college lead to like intellectual development, right? Okay, so as for me, right, I feel that at least for me, the suiting part and the dining hall part actually contributed a lot to my intellectual development, because as you see as a life science student, right, I have a very fixed viewpoint. Like I would view things maybe from a very scientific point of view. So, going down for dinners, right? As you see, NUS College is a very like small communities, meaning that a lot of us would more or less be very well acquainted with one another. So you could literally just go down to the dining hall, you see your friends, and then you can just sit with them. Like you can just sit with anyone and you can talk about class, you can talk about I don't know what's on your mind. And honestly, I feel like it's so interesting to talk to different people throughout the day and just see, like, whoa, I didn't think of that. I didn't think that way. I didn't know you could think that way. So I think it's just really interesting. And to put it metaphorically, I feel like the windows of my brain have been opened really widely. Yeah. So just interacting with different people and you know learning different things from them that you might not have learned on your own accord are just some things which I think have enriched my student life by living on campus. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Gautam.
I think the two of them really beautifully summed it up. And if I were to just add on that, I'm a residential assistant here at the Simon Wing, and I've been a residential assistant for the past 3 years. So I've seen three different batch of students come in and take care of them. It's always a boys' floor, all male floor. And I think what I really enjoy about it is that they they are fearless when it comes to having intellectual debates in the lounge, and even in the lounge, from the smallest thing on whether prata should be called prata or parota, because of a south and north reference to how we call it. It's so interesting how people can get so passionate about all these small little topics. And one thing that I really love to do is to hang out in the dining hall for breakfast. I will sit there from sometimes when I was my first year. I remember I sat there from 7:30 all the way to 10, and I really love to talk to people. And one thing what really shaped me throughout my entire 4 years here, my fourth year now, right, is that these conversations and these experiences that I have had in staying here in Cinnamon Wing for 4 years really made me change the trajectory of understanding what it means to be truly interdisciplinary. And my own passion and interests have changed so much. I came in wanting to be an engineer, and now I'm leaving wanting to really explore educational policies, leadership, and aspects of social sciences that I haven't really considered before I came into. So that's the kind of change that this residential component has given to me.
All right, thank you. And yeah, so Gautam is a year 4. He has been staying at Cinnamon for the last 3 years, coming on to 4th year. And just want to remind all of you that the 2 years residential component does include a meal plan. That means our students will have breakfast and dinner during the semester from Monday to Saturday. So that's why they could continue that conversation outside the classroom during mealtime, evening, chill out time. They go for supper, they work together, they breathe together, they play together. All right. So yeah, and one question, because as parents or as student, most of the people that we have, the high schoolers, they may not have this opportunity of staying away from home for an extended time. Perhaps you could share from your student's perspective how the transition, what do you gain, what do you learn, what are the pain points, etc. Over to the students. Anyone? Anyone from our side?
I can go first. So I came in at a point where COVID was a thing, and I couldn't even have my mom or my dad or any of my siblings come down to help me out because restrictions were strict. I can have one person come up. So I think my mom came up and she just put down the stuff, and I was like, go, 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 leave me alone. So I was more of an independent person by then. But as I saw my freshmen coming in the year after year when I was a residential assistant, the parents were definitely worried. But one thing that I did tell them is that the students here are family, a second family to me, and we all take care of one another. And even if sometimes when you feel alone, there are like structural support systems in place from even in student life and residential side. We have our RAs, our residential assistants, our RF residential fellows, our masters, our RSLMs that Prof. Kang went through just now. And even in the academic side, we have peer mentors, we have faculty staff who are always easy to reach out to. And on the student life side, we have our own whole club, our management committee, and also the different directors. We are all here and we are all forming this community and we are all here to support each other. And that's something that really thrives in NUS College here. So that support system is in place.
Yeah, so maybe I can jump in here a little bit. Gautam and Nikhil are residential assistants, which is who basically are students who help to take care of other students in the residences. Now, there in Cinnamon, there are 600 rooms, so about 600 students. And Cinnamon has 18 floors. Each floor has about 30 to 33 students. I'm not doing my math very well, but essentially every single floor will have a residential assistant. So there's somebody like Gautam or somebody like Nikhil for about every 30 students. So that's one layer of the pastoral care. Um, there's another layer of the pastoral care. So we have the residential student support managers, of which there are 4 in NUS College, and then the residential fellows who are faculty members. Now, why do we have these sorts of different groups of people? We have different groups of people for a very simple reason, right? When students come to university, the people that they are most comfortable with or will most immediately interact directly with are other students. So that's why Gautam and Winnie and Shakira and Mikhail have mentioned, I think, peers, student peers, peer mentors, etc. So there are very many overlapping networks of students. I know Shakira talked about the houses. So the house is a slightly separate network, separate from the residential assistant, separate from the peer mentors, separate from the academic advisors, and so on and so forth. So there are very many different overlapping networks for students, and therefore we think that this is a very workable system because students have so many different dimensions in their lives in NUS College. You could be doing something in a residential college. You could be running an IG in student life. You could be in a specific module in IEX or a specific module, a different module in GEX or in thinking with writing. So each one of these groups will have a different network of people that you interact with, and therefore you find a kind of a home with, or if you find links and connections with, just like Shakira and that bunch of people with arm wrestling in a suite. All right, so I think there are very many different ways in which students interact within the college, and I'm very happy to say that this is very helpful for student development. Okay, it's not really just for pastoral care, but also for student development. And this brings me to my next point about why you might want to live come and join NUS College. There are students of many different majors, students from many different places, students with very many different aspirations and interests. So the chance of you meeting in the dining hall and talking to somebody about an interest that you have never, about something, a topic that you have never really thought about or never really heard about or encountered, the chance of meeting a peer who is very interested in what could turn out to be extremely interesting to you, that chance is very high. So even for me, I'm not a young person, but despite that, every day I go to the dining hall, I try to talk with some of the students, and very frequently I get to hear new things, right? So just recently, somebody was telling me about capybaras, his interest in capybaras and rhinos, capybaras in South America and rhinos in Borneo, and so that's one possibility for him to develop into an IEX and a GEX, right? Some project that he can actually get his hands on. I talked to some students not too long ago, maybe about a month ago, about their interest in poetry, their own poetry, and we are going to have a poetry reading session by these students in week 11, maybe 2 or 3 weeks from now. They're going to run a poetry reading session for the rest of the community. And this, all these kinds of things arise spontaneously. The amounts of things that can arise spontaneously and be exciting for you is very high.
Thank you so much, Prof. Kang. But and since you're online, as the masters of a wing, could you actually just share the proud moments that you've got? Because Galton did talk about seeing the different badges, etc.
Well, yeah. Well, I can't really point to specific proud moments, but I can say that there were very many proud moments. Okay, so many of these things for me involve either students stepping up to do things, or alumni coming back to do things with the students in the college because they've so enjoyed their experiences. So for example, students stepping up to do things. Gautam is a student president, so he knows about this. Very frequently, we have little things here and there that are broken down and etc. The students are always very on the ball in trying to get things done. And very usually it's sometimes it's just as minor as trying to organize a group of students because there may be a big crowd, etc., in the dining hall, or we may have a meal that is particularly attractive. Like recently, they had I don't know, Texas chicken, fried chicken, and I'm not really sure why students like fried chicken so much, given that it's so unhealthy. But there are long queues, and so amongst the students themselves, I think they all learn how to navigate these kinds of things that happen spontaneously. So we're always very happy that we don't get into a situation where there's a riot and people are trying to cut queue and all that. Yeah. So in some sense, that is a generic sort of thing. But I'm always very happy that our students step up to do things. And every 2 or 3 weeks, we have had alumni coming back to the college to talk to students about various things. The last one was just this past week, where the alumnus came back to talk about how to manage your time while you're in the university, right? How not to overcommit, or how to recognize that you're overcommitting and how to deal with that. So this then brings me to a point that Shakira raised earlier about the difference between CCAs and interest groups. In NUS, maybe in the halls of residence, there are CCAs. The halls of residence are not very large. They don't have very many rooms, and therefore rooms is a premium. And therefore, one way to select students for the next bunch of students who are going to be able to get rooms will be to say, hey, this last year, how many CCAs were you, captain of, or how many did you participate in? So points are given. We don't do things like that. So we have students who are participating because they feel like they're interested in participating. You sit out for the weeks that you have a serious big paper or an exam to cram for. We're all totally fine. You participate because you're interested, because you are bringing value through your participation to the rest of your peers, right? So we have alumni coming back to tell us about these sorts of things, how to manage your time. And that's an important part of growing up, because faculty members see a very different slice of life than students see. And our alumni and our senior students and our peer mentors bring that value because they are on the ground. It's their own experience, and therefore they can help to help to guide and to give ideas to the junior students, to the year ones and the year twos about what they can do. And those things happen always spontaneously. We don't always have to go and manage it and say, hey, you know, you and you in the senior year, can you please tell the juniors what to do? Yeah. So these things arise spontaneously, and the community has been doing this very well. So I am very proud. Of course, I cannot say too much about this, because if I say too much about it and somebody is going to say we do not need a master at the college, and then I will be out of a part-time job. Yeah. So yeah, but the sense is that the community comes together very well. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Thank you. And so I think I'm going to circle back a little bit back to the students on the core of our college, the classes, how different it is. And perhaps you could just name one of your favorite course and why, and how did you benefit from this? A quick one, summary.
I can go. So one of the most memorable classes I've had was NTW, which is a thinking with writing course, that aims to develop your critical thinking skills and your writing skills, at the same time. And the reason this is one of my favorite courses was because it completely flipped my worldview on education, 180 degrees. It literally changed the way I would organize the rest of my academic year. So, for example, when I was taking initially when I came into NUS, I guess with the influence around my environment as well, I was very grade oriented, and I realized by being very grade oriented, sometimes I couldn't really truly learn and go deep into whichever aspects I was interested in. And through this NTW course, we dabbled with a bit of philosophy, and I came to learn that what I was doing was actually surrogate learning. I wasn't truly learning, and that course changed the way I approach education. So, yeah.
All right. Shakira or Galton?
Sure, I guess I can take this question. So, I think for me, since yeah, honestly for me, NTW, so the thinking with writing course is also something that completely flipped like my worldview. So, like, you just start to learn that sometimes things in the world don't really exist as two complete binaries, like yes or no. Sometimes there are things that exist, right in the middle, and it really changes the way you think. And honestly, for NTW, it was completely different from my normal like high school or junior college writing, whereby the school feeds you with like facts, you follow a fixed format and all that. Like we're given a lot of creativity and leeway to like write in our own style, but of course with a lot of support from our professors. And it was the first time where I wrote an essay, because it was like a philo essay, and it just didn't have a conclusion. Like it was the first time in my life where I wrote an essay and there didn't need to be the conclusion. The conclusion was there was no conclusion. So I was just like, wow, that's interesting. So I learned how to like basically write my thoughts, like verbalize my thoughts on paper, such that if another person were to read it, they know what I'm thinking. So I was like, yeah, that's pretty interesting.
Galton?
I think one course that I am doing currently, it's not actually a course per se, it's actually a Europe. So in Europe we call it undergraduate research opportunity program, where students can actually pursue research of a subject or research topic of their choice. So it's slightly different from independent study course that I said just now. So the Europe that I'm choosing to do this semester is to focus on inclusivity in higher education, where we focus on the gaps that polytechnic students face when they transition into NUS. So I'm a polytechnic student myself, and in my final year, I really wanted to do something perhaps to really look at what is it that NUS is doing or NUS College is doing to help address certain gaps that we face as polytechnic students. So this really made me reach out to poly kids in NUS, not just in NUS College, interview them, survey them. I managed to reach out to some faculty members, some staff to actually understand the entire ethos and principle of NUS and what is it that institutionally we do and whether it matches with what's happening on the ground as well. So it's really been eye-opening. These kind of research opportunities really opens up more opportunities in the future. For instance, I'm actually presenting this Europe in Tokyo in about 3 weeks time, 4 weeks time for a conference, and I'm really really excited for it. So I'm gonna be amongst professionals and like under other undergraduates and doing a poster presentations on this. So like it's these kind of opportunities in NUS really shapes you and prepares you for even postgrad opportunities if you are interested in that route. So I would strongly encourage you to come and pursue these opportunities at NUS. Yeah.
All right. So we are actually we are well, we have extended our time by 30 minutes. I think we're going to wrap up with this summary, advice from all of you here, and of course I have got my own. So starting off with maybe Prof. Kang, from you, what would be the advice for the audience today?
Well, I guess if you're looking for a place where you can come and you grow, develop professionally, because all of you have aspirations, there are very many opportunities for you to do that here, right? So that's important. But you're coming to a university and you learn to think, you learn to do research, just like what Gautam and Shakira have actually mentioned. We always think of writing as kind of a form of thinking, because as you put your thoughts to paper, you are trying to be clear about how you are communicating a specific thought. And in the process of doing that, you become clearer in what it is that you are thinking. So that is ultimately, you may say, yeah, but that's, just writing. Ultimately, that is the most important thing for all of you to be able to do when you get out to work, because you need to be clear to others how you're thinking about a problem and therefore how you might contribute to solving a particular thing, right? So I know all this is very, up there, but all of these kinds of things, developing professionally, working with friends, being part of a team and knowing how to interact and gain and organize and move the group forward in a common direction. I think those things are very important. For after the university, and so therefore I think this is the kind of experience that you should be looking for when you come to university. Yeah.
Right. Students, be shy.
I can go first. Okay. As an NUSC student ambassador, a lot of times, what I advise my juniors is that I saw there was a question that was asking about what can I do to increase my chances to be accepted into NUS College? And I think a very important mindset to take is that if you present yourself the most authentically, the right program will accept you. So, there have been many friends that I've seen who have, okay, not many, some friends who have, tried to specifically tailor their portfolio to meet NUSC needs. And of course, by luck, they get accepted. But once they enter the program, they realize that what they've been trying to force fit themselves didn't work out because, this is an interdisciplinary program. So if you're a computer science student and you find that everything you've been doing throughout your past history has always been like coding, 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 and you realize that, wow, I love coding so much, I don't really want to dabble with anything else. That's completely fine. But the thing is, NUS College is an interdisciplinary program, and the modules that we take will be very different from your major. So like I said, I'm a life science student. I had to learn philosophy. I had to learn sociology. So if you are someone who can foresee yourself not enjoying this module, then personally, as an advice, I would say not to, force fit your portfolio to get admitted into NUSC, because there are repercussions. If you get in and you drop out, it's not very easy to apply to other residential programs. Yeah.
Finally, back to you, Dalton. Miguel,
Uh, Okay, Nikhil, do you want to go first? I
Oh,
just
you
wanted
can
to
go first. Yeah, sure.
Shakir brought up a really beautiful point. Really don't be a person that you're not. This program is not for everyone. It's a very honest thing to say. This is really for someone who really loves the interdisciplinarity. When you're curious minded and you really want to learn more than what you're doing in your own faculty. But at the same time, I want to also address the small group of y'all. Not sure if it's small or big, but there will be a group of students who will feel that you're not good enough for this program, even though you're extremely keen. And this is the point when I say it's okay. It's okay if you think your essays that you're writing, your applications is not good enough. Come for the interview, just sign up. Come for the interview, be yourself, share about yourself. All the interviewers want to find out who you are as a person and what you have done. Just because you don't have maybe you don't have a strong leadership position in your uni, in your poly, your JC, your IB, or whatever you did before you coming to uni, but maybe you have a part-time job that you're working with, and you're feeding your family, for instance. These are all experiences that what makes you a different person in the community, and we want a diverse group of you guys here. So just be yourself and apply. And don't be scared. If you're really interested in the program, just don't be scared and apply. I think that's my advice to you guys.
Well, my advice would be, if you're curious to dabble in interdisciplinary topics, if you are keen on developing your critical thinking, and if you really want to engage in the topics that you're interested in, just apply, just do it. Be genuine in your application, so that what you get will be really what you truly want to do.
Okay, and then I think it's back to me.
Winnie?
I promised some things at the beginning
Yes.
of the session. I'm just going to share my screen and expand it. For me, I know that we have a couple of questions that we have not managed to answer, but in a nutshell, this is what we are looking for, the profile that we're looking for. Courageous, I think this is what has been mentioned by the students. I'd like to point out, you will be outside your comfort zone, and don't be afraid, there are many situations in life that you will be placed in outside your comfort zone. So we look at all the dimensions, the different dimensions, personality in the whole process. So therefore, you will need to submit an application form, which is the NUS application form. I've already provided, I believe, the link in the chat box. So same application form, and in section 2.1, there is there's an intro of NUS College and a statement, would you like to apply with NUS College? So if you do tick a yes, then that's where the NUS College application will pop up on your screen that you need to complete, which is the admissions essay. And if you're shortlisted, then we will call you in for an interview. So at this point in time, as far as I know, we will have face-to-face interview for students applying locally, and webinar, Zoom interview, online interview for students applying outside Singapore. So it'll be about a 20 minutes chat with us, with at least two parties from NUS College. So scholarships, plenty of them available at NUS level. We have faculty levels also, as well as on our end. So those with the globe, you see globe sign on it, those are open to international students. And do take note of our scholarships. The first two are by invitation. So there is nothing extra that you need to do at this point in time. It is, so all of you will be considered for scholarships. That is, as particularly the international students, do take note of the tuition grant that you need to fulfill. So if you don't wish to take on the tuition grant, or you are for some reasons rejected, then you will not be considered for scholarships. However, if you are, there won't be additional things that you require except for NUS College, the two that I that highlighted at the top by invitation. You will be asked to complete some other documents, etc. And then obviously there will be interviews to secure your scholarship. So this is the timeline that we've got for next intake, August intake 2024. All qualifications except for Singapore GCE A levels, all others will opened around in November. And of course, the Polytechnics is going to open in January. So do look out for this as well. Very important. And then, of course, if you do have any questions, do come on to go to our website. As you can see, there's a contact us. So type in your questions over there, or also there is an events page. We do have a couple of webinars coming up. And as NUSC College, we do have one webinar coming on on 18th of November. And there will be an admissions tips webinar on the 16th of December. So these will be updated as soon as we get that website done, the web link done. So I told you, whip your phones out, do scan this QR code. You will be able to download a copy of the slides that we shared today. And also, obviously, you will be placed on our mailing list, so you can be notified. So I guess there are, if you do have any questions pertaining to admissions, NUS proper, the degree, etc., because we don't go through your prerequisites that will be verified by OAM. So we will just interview you from our point of view. So if you do get an offer from us, you will get an offer from as a NUS college student plus to do a degree with NUS. So the rest will be verified by OAM. And so if you do have any questions pertaining to your faculty admissions, you will have to either write to the faculty themselves directly, go to their webpage, or admissions, type in NUS Ask Admissions. There will be also a mailbox where you can get your personalized questions addressed. All right. So with that, I would like to thank you very much for spending your time with us today. And we do hope to see you again. Well, have a good rest of the week. Thank you very much. Bye.